Hey everybody, this is Coach Barry out on the 2 football fields that we practice on here in Billings, Montana with our football teams of our high school and junior high programs. And throughout the fall they get very torn up. We usually end up playing in snow, don't see the fields, and they're just starting to come out of spring and there's a lot of wear, a lot of damage. And this season I am going to be taking over caring for these fields. And so I'm going to have you guys join me on the journey of what it takes to do this. It's kind of a do-it-yourself homeowners with just a much bigger scale. So first thing we're going to look at is just kind of the condition of the turf that it's in, and then we're going to be getting some soil samples taken here at the end of the week and figure out what we have going on underneath the turf in the ground, so we can figure out what our plan will be going into the spring. As you can see, we're in a pretty good state of dormancy still, and this is the north end of what we're going to call the game field. This is a field that our junior varsity freshmen and junior high teams actually play their games on, built here at our junior high school. And as you can see, they spent a lot of time on this north end, so the interior of the fields in between the hashes is pretty worn down, and there is grass there. It's just worn all the way down to the dirt. And as we get a closer look into the turf, we'll see that we are starting to just now get a little hint of green popping up from those spots. So it's not dead, it's just dormant at this point. So as we can see here, it's pretty bare, but we just have little itty bitty pieces of green coming up through this. Pretty hard right now. Obviously, could get some moisture back into this. There's still a chance we could get snow again this spring. But there is, again, grass here. It's just really thin, really wore down. So we're going to aerate this, punch some holes, get able to get moisture and air down into that. Then we're going to have a nice top dressing project that we're going to do. It's going to be huge. Not exactly sure how we're going to pull all that off, but that's the plan. And then after we do that, we'll overseed, and especially inside the hashes here, to get more roots going down in this area. This is the main area up on the north end of this game field. This is a primary spot that the junior high team practices. Need to get them in a better habit of moving them around the field so they don't just hammer this one spot. But as you can see, just very down to the dirt in most of these spots here, and needs a lot of work. So here you can see we're at the very south end by the goalpost looking north, and still worn down in the middle here, but not near as bad as it is on that far north end. Pretty good grass on each hash and outside. And then as we look into the back of the end zone, you can see that right, all the way to the scoreboard, great grass back here. It's the same stand. It just shows you the difference in wear and tear that happens in the fall in these fields. So here you can see we're on our practice field. The north end here, same situation. If you look over my shoulder, on this end of the field, varsity team seems to practice a lot more on this end. A little wore down, but not near as damaged as the other field. I'm also pretty sure that we have a different soil type up on this end as we do towards the other end. And if we look into our grass, better stand here, and a little more to work with. We have some weird crop circle things going on. I'm not exactly sure what we have going on here. If you guys know, let me know in the comments and see what I need to do about it. But we have these big rings in the field, and there's about 5 or 6 of them, and I'm not sure what would be causing all these rings. North end down here, not too bad, but when we go to south end, we got really good grass. One of the problems with this field is when they built the school in the back, they put in this huge drainage ditch from the parking lots to help get rid of the water before it hits city water. And they actually trenched right through the middle of our fields, which, everyone was really happy about. And what it did is it caused us to have to move our fields because the irrigation ditch down there is at an angle. To be able to fit the field, we had to move it actually closer to the ditch that they did and then bring it up north. And so it took the crown of our field, and that crown now kind of sits on the far west hash. So sometime in the distant future, not going to happen this year, most likely won't happen next year, but that could be a project where we would smoke this whole field, get somebody out here that has the knowledge and equipment to replane this and slope this field here, and then just continue that slope where the other little half fields are. But for now, we just live with it. It's a practice field. The slope isn't great enough. It's there. Again, a nice top dressing on this field is going to help get it a little more level and to be in a more of a sports playing surface than just somebody's lawn. To the west here, we walk up and again, pretty good grass. This would pretty much be outside the hash on the west side of the practice field. And then normally what we do is we have two full width fields that go about 25 yards deep. Let our linebackers and linemen have areas where they don't have to run as far, but they have the markings of the field for a lot of their drills. Again, doesn't get the usage, so really good grass out here. It's the same grass planted at the same time, irrigated, but where I'm standing was closer to the middle of the field, and now it's right on the border of the field, just having to move it. So just a little bit of change in plan, but you can see the brightness of where the interior of the field is where kids play. A couple things I just want to clarify and put out there. This is my YouTube channel. It's not affiliated with the school. I do coach for the school. I'm not an employee of the school, but they've agreed to let me, use this project in my channel. If you have questions or comments, just go ahead and leave them in the comments or email me. But again, the school isn't affiliated with this. They're just very generous to let me film this while I take care of the fields. Another reason I'm doing this is when they built the school, everything you see here was part of the grounds, and the grounds crew at the school, maintenance and janitorial staff, help take care of it. And they actually do a very, very good job. When they got the school, they got a walker mower. We'll maybe take a look at it in a future video. And they mow everything pretty much inside this fence in the entire complex with that. And unfortunately for the fields being sports performance field turf, we wanted this year to try to take that up a notch and treat that a little differently. So we're going to get a different mower in the process of fundraising for that. Not, I should say we, that's a coaching thing. I always say we and not I, but I'm trying to raise money, and we have a mower picked out with some other used equipment that we're going to use to top dress this field and get things going there. So we're going to be mowing 3 times a week. We're going to drop the height of cut and just do it more frequently. In one of our next videos here, we're going to be doing soil testing and sampling and figure out again what we have, and then we'll come up with our program. We're probably still a week or two away from that 50 to 55 degree mark where we could put down a pre-emergent. When they come out to do our soil testing here in a couple days, we have that scheduled. We'll put a thermometer in the ground, see where we're at, decide if we want to, at that time, get a pre-emergent down. I'm still 50-50 on if we're going to do that. Obviously, if you put a pre-emergent down, then we don't want to be putting more seed down. I don't know if we need to. I do think we have grass. Again, I think it's just worn down right now to the nubs, into the dirt. And I think with fertilization and aeration, we can get that back. But at this point, I might want to leave the option open to be able to overseed. And if that's the case, we'll just fight the weeds in a pro-submergent fashion. So still 50-50 on that, but we'll take the temperatures and see where we're at. So why do a lawn care channel with football fields? Well, first of all, it takes something that I'm passionate about, sport of football and coaching, and also something I've always been as a farmer's kind of kid interested is in farming and growing grass and mowing, something I've always really liked to do. So I wanted to combine the two this last year with changes in my job and some of the COVID stuff. Spent a lot of time at home, was on YouTube, and kind of discovered the home do-it-yourself lawn mowing channels and crowds with Connor Ward and Ryan Knorr are really the first two. Ryan's really the first one that got me watching channels, and from him I discovered Connor, and then discover Jake the Lawn Kid and John Perry, and one of the most entertaining ones, the Lawn Tools and stuff like that. So I've been able to interact a little bit with those guys and just said, hey, have this huge project, I'm going to do it anyway, might as well bring a camera along, see if anyone will watch and involve you guys. So I hope you will, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks. I think I'm more willing to fight the weeds in a post-emergent environment and just handle them as they come. And yeah, that didn't make any sense.